Be Tom, just for reference.
Yeah, it could take 30 minutes. Should be enough.
Yeah, grant. So we have, I think, about 21 on the meeting, so not too bad, not too bad. Just for everyone else, so Tom is a specialist with Procore. As most of you will know, anyone that's using Procore Sync, it was deprecated last October or so. So we've been using the desktop version or Procore Drive. So Tom is going to demonstrate Procore Drive as an alternative to Procore Sync, and he's going to do it one today, and then anyone who misses it is going to do it next week. And we're also recording the sessions. So I'll leave it with you, Tom, if that's okay.
Yeah. Cheers, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. In the session today, as Brian said, we're going to walk through another application that Procore has called Procore Drive. Just to confirm, can you all see Procore on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good start. Okay, so Procore Drive. Basically, Procore Drive is an application that you install on your PC and allows you to interact with the Documents tool and also the Photos and Program tool of Procore without having to either upload the files directly to the Procore web or use something like Procore Sync or O Drive. So the first step, what I'm going to do is just share the link in the chat. If I can, one sec. So I'll share this link in the chat for you all. That will allow you to download Procore Drive, log in, and go from there. And I'll walk through the steps of how to use the tool. If there's any questions, feel free to jump in and stop me and ask the question. That's no problem at all. Okay, so Procore Drive. Once you navigate to the support article that I've shared in the chat, you can select the download now option. And also, just as a guidance for you all, there is additional support articles there for you to support in using the tool. Basically, once you install the application, you will see. Sorry, is there a question?
Don't think so. I'd say if anyone who's not, everyone be on mute while Thomas is speaking, unless you have a question. I'd say it's just got a bit of background there, Tom.
Yeah, no problem at all. Happens all the time. Cool. So if we navigate to the application once you install it, you'll see it'll look something like this. So what I'm going to do is just log out and just show you exactly what you would see as soon as you install the application. So recommendation is that you could pin it to your taskbar and then you can access it anytime you need. You simply log in using your Procore credentials in the application. Once you hit login, you will then be asked to select the company and the project that you want to connect to via Procore Drive. So the company level, the company selection dropdown is the first one, and then the project is here on the right-hand side. Okay, so the first things you're going to see here is we have a few different tabs. We've got access to the Documents tool within Procore, very similar to what you'd see in Procore Sync. You've got access to the Photos tool, so you can actually upload photos or review photos, again, without having to open Procore or download them directly. You'll be able to view them directly from here. If you are utilizing the Program tool, we have an integration there that allows you to upload the project program, either a P6 or a Microsoft project file, directly to Procore from here, and allow you to maintain it from a central place rather than saving it on a server somewhere and then working on it separately outside of Procore. So we will leave that for the moment, but I will ask a question about that in a few moments. And then finally, you can also utilize the Procore emails tool directly from here as well. So it has a few different use cases outside of just interacting with documents. Okay. The first thing you're going to see on the Documents tab here is I have a list of all of the folders and files that are on a specific project in Procore. So as you can see, I'm on 001 Vortex Business Center. And if I open up Procore, here's my 001 Vortex Business Center, and I go into the Documents tool. It is a direct integration from here. Okay. If I scroll down, you can see the files that are actually there as well. Okay. Conscious that when utilizing Procore Sync or ODrive, there maybe have been some latency issues with uploading or accessing files. With Procore Drive, you won't have those issues, as you're going to see throughout the demonstration. The way it works really is that I can use the Documents tool on Procore directly from this drive, as I've said, without having to open up Procore. So if I just minimize that again and show you the application, not only can I upload files directly from my PC, so if I just want to select a file here, I can drag it over. And as you can see, the file is being uploaded. One of the main differences between this and Sync is that you can actually see that the file is being completed. And if I scroll down, you're going to see that document here. So there's a test document and it'll be available within the application. One of the other main differences here as well between the application and Procore Sync is that I can actually open up documents directly from Procore Drive and save any updates automatically directly back to Procore via different versions. So I'll leave that for one moment. I'll kind of jump back to folders, managing folders, etc., and then we'll dive into specific document management. So a few different ways to manage folders. One is that if a folder is already created on the system, I can open it up. I can do everything that I could have done on Procore Drive, on the Procore web. So I can create different subfolders, or I can upload files, or I can select files to download, and I can download the folder or the selected documents. I can also delete selected items. With deleting, just remember that if you're deleting something, it's not going to be deleted for good. It's going to be deleted to the recycle bin on Procore, meaning you can always retrieve those documents again if you need to. Okay. Let's dive into a specific folder again, and let's click on a file. Just before I go into files, is there any questions on what you've seen so far? Any concerns or any questions?
I think you're all good, Tommy.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so let's just look at the document itself. So as I said, you can create folders within a folder via the buttons, or you can simply drag and drop them over to upload them to Procore. So let me just try that again. I'm going to upload this file here. And you can see that the test document has been uploaded. If I click into the file, you can see I can do a few other things that I can't do within Procore Sync. So the first thing I can see here is I have the version history, and I'll talk about that in a second. I can open up that file directly from Procore, and it's going to open up in the native file software that I use to open up that file. So if you upload a Word document to Procore and you want to open it up from Procore, you can do it via Procore Drive. It's going to open up in Word, and any changes you make is going to push it back to Procore as a new version. So let's just take that example where I can see here, it's version 1. And I'm going to open up this test document.rtf file. And you can see it opens up in WordPad here for me. Okay. If I type something in here, Clancy for Drive training, and I hit save, it's going to ask me to upload a new version to Procore. So then I can hit submit, or I can add in some context of what has changed in this document. Clancy test, and hit submit. What you can see then is version 2 has been uploaded. And for anyone that wants to access this file on Procore now, they will be accessing the latest version. However, if I want to navigate back to the previous version, I can do so by just downloading the previous version here. So in summary there, really, Procore Drives gives you a higher level of functionality that Procore Sync doesn't really have, and gives you similar functionality to what you could actually do within the Procore application on web, without being on that. So that's really a really useful piece of functionality. Again, if you open up a model file or an Excel file, for example, from Procore or a PDF, it's going to open up in that application that you use to work on those files. Any changes you make, when you hit save, it's not going to save locally on your machine. It's going to save back to Procore as a new version. Okay. In addition to that as well, you can also check out files. Actually, before I do that, I'll just jump back to Procore just to show you the changes that have been made here. So if I open up the Documents tool and I open up the test folder, there's that test document.rtf. And if I hit the information icon, you can see it's on version 2. So completely works in tandem with the web application. Okay. A few other things you can do then as well is that if you want to work on a file, but you don't want anyone else to access it, you can also check out the file. So if I want to make sure that no one else will work on this as I'm working on it, I can check it out for a specific time frame. So let's just check it out for an hour and hit checkout. As you can see now, within Procore Drive or Procore on the web, it's going to be notified that it's checked out to Peter PM here. And if Peter doesn't check the file back in before that hour runs up, it's going to reset and make it available for anyone to work on. In the case of checking out files, I'll simply do the exact same thing as we've done with opening it. So I'll check it out. I will open the file and maybe make a change. Training session complete. And just hit save. Again, it uploads to Procore and hit submit. But this time, it's automatically going to check it back in. So it's not like you have to come back in and select checkout or check back in. As soon as you upload the changes or that file with the changes you've made, it'll automatically check it back in. And that's just there to make sure, again, if you want nobody to be able to access that file while you're working on it, you can use that checkout functionality. In addition to that as well, download is fairly straightforward, as is upload new version. But also you can track files and folders from Procore Drive. So if you want to track a file, you select the track option. And what's going to happen is anytime there's changes made to that document, you're going to receive a notification when that new version is uploaded. So for example, a use case may be that you might have subcontractors uploading RAMs or something like that to Procore. And when they upload the new version of that file or the RAMs, you'll receive a notification if you want. So tracking can be very useful to make sure you're notified of new updates and documents. Okay, in terms of the document functionality, fairly straightforward, guys. That's it. You can work on files and upload them directly to Procore without being on the Procore platform, as well as track and then check out. Any questions on the document side?
Tom, I have one there. So you can open any file type at all.
Correct, yes. So if it's a CAD file or a Revit file, you could have it stored on Procore and then open it up in Revit directly from Procore.
Yeah, and that's through the file directory on your left-hand side there. Correct.
Exactly, yes.
You open up natively within there, and then you save it within the specific application, and it will upload the new version.
Exactly. So if, for example, if it's this PDF, I'll select open. That's going to open up in this PDF viewer. And then when I make any changes and hit save, it uploads the new version straight away. So it's really useful.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Okay, just to show you the photos functionality as well. One of the downsides of Procore when you're working with photos on the web is that, again, it's very manual on uploading and viewing. So what you can actually do within Procore Drive as well is just have access to all of the photos on a project, again, without having to go into Procore. So if I click on photos from punch list, you can see I have loads of all the photos that are on the project and have been created from the punch list tool. But again, if you're using specific albums, like I have an album here for site progress, you'll be able to either upload files or open up photos directly from the photos tool as well. So primary use case for this really is if you are on site and you might just walk around and take a load of photos on your mobile rather than using the Procore mobile app to capture photos. You could come back to the office, upload photo, and then select them all to upload. So nothing really much to learn in terms of what you can do here, except you can access the photos tool. You can open up the file again if you want to mark it up. If you're using a photo markup tool, you can open it up and mark it up further. Download, delete, or rotate. A few other things you can rename and edit the description here as well of the photos. Email tool as well, just to show you this. Just a question, do you use Outlook in Clancy?
We do, yeah.
Perfect. So if you're using the mobile, Outlook desktop version, you can simply drag and drop emails from Outlook directly into the emails tool from Procore here. This is not really useful if you're using the Outlook plugin, which is probably a question for Brian. Is that something you're utilizing?
It's installed on all machines, yeah. On the machines.
Got it. So that's probably the most common way you're going to interact with emails is via that plugin.
Yeah, we haven't really used the email function on Procore much because we're using an existing system, but probably will be something that we look at going forward.
Yeah, just on the email plugin as well, Brian, is that it's not just emails it works with. You can create RFIs, create correspondence, look at all your tasks within Procore directly from that plugin as well. So maybe something as well we look at down the line of doing a session.
Yeah, we're aware of that. We've done a webinar maybe before Christmas on the same thing.
Brilliant. Cool. And then finally then, do you utilize the program tool within Procore?
Some contracts managers might. I'm not 100% sure now. Wouldn't be a standard as such.
Yeah. One of the challenges we see with that is that typically the program file is going to be probably stored on a server somewhere. Is it Microsoft Project you use?
Typically Asta, but some contracts managers might use Project.
Okay. So excuse me. So yeah, it works in a very similar way. Typical use case is that you'd have the project file or Asta file stored either locally on your machine, and you would, or on a server. To upload it to Procore, then you'd need to open up the web version of Procore, navigate to the program, go into settings, and then upload the program, or select upload program here if it hasn't been done before. Challenge with that is that if you upload the program here for visibility for everyone on the project, as soon as you make a change in Microsoft Project or Asta, you have to do that again. You have to manually upload the program back to Procore. Using Procore Drive, what you can actually do is store the project file or the Asta file directly on Procore, and very similar to how you open up documents in the native software. If I upload a project file here via the change to schedule file integration, and then I hit upload schedule, I will select the project file. So this is an MPP file. Okay, and what you're going to see now is within the program tool, when I refresh, the program is going to be available for everyone on the project. Okay, so it's just loading it there now. It might take a second, but as you can see, it's up now on Procore. One of the main differences of managing the program on via Procore Drive is that you don't actually have to have a separate program file now stored on your server or on your desktop, for example. I can simply launch the schedule, and it's going to open up the schedule or the program in Project or Asta, whatever you use on your PC. You can make the changes, and as soon as you hit save on that project file, it will sync the latest file or the program back to Procore. So it really means you can centrally store your project file and make changes to it and update the program in Procore without having to manually upload it every time you make changes. For anyone that is managing the program in Procore today, this would be by far the best practice to use the program tool. And that is how you'd manage the program with Procore Drive. So guys, that's really it with Procore Drive. Is there anything else you want me to go back over, or is there any questions that you have? Happy to answer anything there for you now.
Is it possible if you open a CAD file in Procore that you can work on the CAD file without having CAD on your computer?
No, not yet. We are working on a solution in terms of document management, or a CDE, which will allow you to work on CAD files, but that will not be available until probably an end of year.
Okay.
But yeah, good question. Cool. Okay, guys.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any further questions. Tom, thanks for your time again. And just for everyone else, Tom will be back again next week to do the same presentation. If you wish, you can come back into it. If not, I think Colin has it recorded as well. So yeah, thanks very much, Tom, for your time.
Yeah, no problem at all. If you begin using Procore Drive, again, the link is in the chat. If you want to come armed with any questions that you have or any issues you have in using it for next week, more than happy to support there. So yeah, look, guys, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully you found that useful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.